What does it mean for a nation, for a people, to want democracy? What does it look like for young people to demand self-determination?
I'm Julie Millsap, and I'm with the Campaign for Uyghurs. We are a grassroots organization that was founded in 2017 to advocate for the human rights and democratic freedoms of Uyghurs and other Turkic peoples who are being oppressed by the Chinese regime.
Hong Kong Watch was founded in London in 2017 when a small group of us came together because we could see that Hong Kong needed a voice. Over the last 3.5 years, our very small team has made an impact around the world completely disproportionate to our size.
My name is Pema, and I'm the campaigns director at Students for Free Tibet. SFT was founded in 1994 with a single vision, a vision that there is a world where democracy, self-determination, and human rights can become a reality for all people, including the Tibetan people.
Indeed facing active genocide at the present time. We have a specific focus on empowering women and youth for advocacy. We've really identified this as key to the movement. Women are being targeted in particularly brutal ways by the Chinese Communist Party, who is very fearful of them sharing their experiences and their perspectives and raising their voices on these issues. So we've seen how coming alongside of them and empowering them to do that is really one of the strongest tools that we have in this fight against the Chinese Communist Party.
SFT has worked tirelessly to build a grassroots movement of young people around the world that can make that vision into a reality. One of the ways that we do this is through grassroots training, providing opportunities for young people to develop the skills that they need.
We now have a presence. We're establishing a presence in Canada, in Australia, across Europe, in New Zealand, at the United Nations and beyond. Our work falls into two main categories: in-depth research and advocacy. Over the years, we've published several major reports on the human rights situation in Hong Kong, including on the erosion of academic freedom, the disqualification of legislators, the impact of the national anthem law, the national security law.
We've also identified the key role that youth and grassroots organizations play in this movement, as they have a certain reach and skill sets that can really multiply the movement and increase the reach and awareness level globally.
In 1959, when CCP occupied Tibet, we have seen the situation get from bad to worse and terrible, and it continues to worsen every day. In 2020, Tibet was ranked as the least free place in the entire world, tied only with Syria. Since the past decade alone, we've seen over 150 Tibetans inside Tibet self-immolate. So what does that mean for organizers, for activists, in order to continue our movement? SFT has worked with young people from around the world to build a system, to build a platform where young people can come together and strategically build power together and fight these campaigns and make noticeable differences for Tibetans inside Tibet and those living around the world.
And also a report on why Hong Kong matters to the rest of the world. But those reports are always accompanied by high-level advocacy with government ministers, diplomats, policymakers, parliamentarians, think tanks, media, academics, other NGOs, to inform and influence key people around the world for Hong Kong.
We've also seen how the CCP has oppressed others, like the Uyghur people, Hong Kongers, the genocide that they've engaged in, and the dismantling of democracy.
In addition, we're very excited to be continuing to build solidarity with our Tibetan, Hong Kong, and other allies who share this common history of oppression by the Chinese regime.
In 2020, in response to the national security law, we organized a letter signed by more than 900 parliamentarians and policymakers from 43 countries.
As we raise our voices in defense of democratic freedoms and indeed human dignity, we're very privileged to be coming together to do so, to raise our voices, and we're looking forward to, in spite of the challenges of this struggle and the way that it feels like a very long battle, the ways we believe that we will continue to see progress in the next year as we raise our voices as one.
And we believe that if we work together, our activism and our advocacy holds more power, because the CCP that has been oppressing Tibetans inside Tibet for decades now has also been doing the same to many other people, to Tibetans, to Uyghurs, Hong Kongers. The only way for us to achieve democracy, the only way for us to accomplish self-determination for all is by standing together.
When we can recognize the ways that overlooking abuses against one people group have allowed them to be multiplied and increased against other groups, we can also stand together at this very vital point in time and say together, no, not to them, not to us, not to anyone.
Hi, my name is Dorjit Setan, a Tibetan refugee born in India and a lifelong activist. I'm the executive director of Students for a Free Tibet, and it is my honor to accept the Democracy Courage tributes on behalf of our organization. Students for Free Tibet is a chapter-based network of activists, organizers, and campaigners in more than 30 countries working to advance the Tibetan cause. Through grassroots organizing, strategic campaigns, and nonviolent direct action, we campaign for the political freedom of Tibet and human rights for all Tibetans. Since SFT's founding in 1994, we have trained and mobilized thousands of young people to take effective actions and to promote human rights, democracy, and freedom. The world today is at a historic crossroads as China consolidates its rise as an illiberal global hegemon. It is clear that Chinese government authoritarian practices of censorship and repression endanger people everywhere. Despite these difficulties, though we are building an unprecedented alliance of nations and people who are committed to struggle for freedom and democracy. Tibetans, Uyghurs, Hong Kongers, Taiwanese, Southern Mongolians, Chinese democracy activists, and other activists around the world are coming together to take strategically and non-violent actions to resist CCP rule. And I'm honored that SFT, my organization, is one of the leading organizations coordinating this global alliance. Although the path to achieve freedom, human rights, and democracy for Tibet may at times seem impossible, but I find solace and hope in the words of His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama. Quote, the just cause of Tibet will never wipe out. Truth in some time is something that in time gains momentum and comes into light. People may use arms to suppress the truth, but the impact of violence does not last long. In our struggle for the just cause of Tibet, instead of taking arms, we yield to the power of truth to fight for our cause. End quote. It is in this spirit that I call everyone who care for democracy and human rights to never give up our hope that our nonviolent struggle can bring change. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you to World Movement for Democracy and the National Endowment for Democracy for this great honor. I accept this award on behalf of Campaign for Uyghurs and Uyghurs everywhere. When we started this organization, it was out of responsibility and obligation to do all that we could to fight for the millions of people who are suffering under the Chinese regime. We designed Campaign for Uyghurs with a focus on young activists and women as the architects of a better world. We know that placing them at the front and the center of this advocacy was key. We are so very proud of the work the women of East Turkestan around the world are doing. They are standing up, fighting back, showing the world that their bravery knows no boundary or limit. We continue to fight strings in the young organizers like my fellow honorees in Students for Free Tibet and the Hong Kong Watch, who have inspired the world. They have become the voice of a united movement for human dignity, democracy, and the freedom. Because of this unified movement, we are so grateful to be able to help even more people access the resources necessary to spread the story of our people to every home and the nation. This present fight is for the Uyghurs, but also for the future of the democratic free world. The hope of humanity today then lies within those who have the spirit to resist. We are in the midst of a long, challenging fight with the CCP. We can rest assured that though the arc of the moral universe is long, it bends toward justice. This fight demands solidarity. No matter how long, we must push forward and onwards. We know we do not walk alone. There will be a bright morning for our people, for Hong Kong, for Tibet, for all. This will come because of activists around the world and the generosity of those who help them. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. And now the work continues.
My name is Joey Siu. Like many other activists and protesters, I fled Hong Kong due to political reasons, and I'm currently away from home and could never return. Thank you, World Movement of Democracy, for awarding Hong Kong Watch the Democracy Courage Tribute. It is truly a pleasure to be recognized alongside 3 other very outstanding organizations. Hong Kong Watch was founded in 2017 to shine a light on the Chinese Communist Party's violations of promises made under the Sino-British Joint Declaration and the international law to uphold Hong Kong's basic freedoms, rule of law, and autonomy. We campaign for a strong, coordinated international response to Beijing's crackdowns at Hong Kong. Since Hong Kong's pro-democracy movement broke out in 2019, we have witnessed severe police brutality, the cancellation of democratic elections, and the imposition of the draconian national security law. From everyday protesters to activists to legal professionals and educators, all dissidents are facing the risk of unreasonable and lengthy imprisonment. Hong Kongers have not only lost the freedom of speech, assembly, and free press, but also live under fear of persecution every single day. Hong Kong is a canary in the coal mine, warning the world about the CCP's strategies for control and coercion. And we are watching as the Chinese Communist Party's aggression expands beyond the borders of Hong Kong and China. With growing United Front work and Red Capital infiltrations, Beijing is extending its long arm to every corner of the globe, seeking to remake the international rule-based order in its own image and posing a threat to democracy worldwide. There must be solidarity among oppressed groups. While Hong Kongers continue to live under terror, Uyghurs suffer from an ongoing genocide, Tibetans not able to return to their homeland, and other dissidents face continuous suppression. We hope not only to defend freedom and democracy of Hong Kong, but also to work with our like-minded allies to become a stronger, united force against tyranny. Finally, we would like to dedicate the award to the courageous people of Hong Kong who are still fighting fearlessly for values we all believe in. We are proud to walk alongside the people of Hong Kong in the past few years, and we will continue to sail through the waves and storms ahead together. Thank you.